What up, what up? I'm Aaron from InCrowd, and today we discuss PG County's very own RedVeil, Learn to Swim. Let's get it. I'm Aaron for InCrowd, and as I mentioned, today we're discussing Prince George County, Maryland's very own RedVeil, his album Learn to Swim. Now, I'll be openly honest. I've been listening to this album for the better part of about, 2 months, and it was very difficult for me to find myself getting to a place where I was ready to actually review the album, simply because I just didn't know if my words could do this album the justice that it needed to be done. Personally, I find this to be probably one of the best projects that I've heard so far in 2022. And I've heard a lot of good projects, but this one sits above all else. So, who is RedVeil? He's an 18-year-old songwriter, music producer, rapper. He does it all, and he does it all on this album, Learn to Swim, by himself. This individual is such an artist that he even self-released the album. I don't see any labels sitting behind this guy. He did it himself. He wrote everything. He produced everything. He made all the beats. He wrote the music, and he put the album out himself on streaming platforms as well as it's available for download. If that isn't being the type of individual that stands behind what you believe, I don't know what else can say that you've got it. As a matter of fact, looking through some of his the work that's out there, I actually see he's performing in New York soon. So that goes to show he's not only putting out the music, he's touring the music. This is a solid individual when it comes to putting out music. But we'll move beyond that and just discuss this album. This album really came out of nowhere for me. I was not fully aware of who RedVeil is. I've heard one song of his in the past, but it's not something that I guess was that driving that I had to revisit, so I kind of just moved on. But with this new album, Learn to Swim, he has taken everything that he's done in the past and he's just shown that he's gotten better, and he's shown that he's going to continue to get better. As a matter of fact, I think that is probably the theme of the album here. But before we jump into that, let's kind of discuss a little bit of the album. The album itself, in my personal opinion, it is what I would consider to be true artistry. So his rapping style is more of, in my opinion, along the lines of that of Earl Sweatshirt. It's got this almost monotonous, unemotional delivery, but don't make that sound like a bad thing. That's actually a good thing because of the way that he produces his beats. The beats that he lays on this album go perfectly in sync with his rapping style. It goes perfectly in sync with his flow style. It goes perfectly in sync with his cadences and his delivery. And going beyond just cadences and delivery and such, it's the fact that he produced this album himself. He seems to be very, very heavy into synthesizers, into drums, into the use of background vocals. He really gets into the production aspect of this album. To a degree, I'm almost willing to say he's probably as good of a producer as he is a writer and rapper. That's how good the production is on this album. Reading through his wiki, it shows that he actually produces for other artists as well. So that makes complete sense why he's so good on this album. There's tracks on this album where he's using piano keys. He's using the synthesizer. There are saxophone elements. There's certain songs in here where he's using the saxophone, and I'm not sure if he's playing these instruments himself or if he's just pulling elements into his production, but it all works here. He's got drums on this album. He's got string instruments on this album. He really has done a great job with the production aspect of this. I would love to hear this in a live setting. And I'm not talking a live setting where he has a DJ playing the music and he's just up front with a microphone rapping. I'm talking about a live environment in which he hires a real live band and they learn the music that he produced and then he raps over it. I think it would work extremely well because of the way it comes across on this album. So, with that being said, and the use of the voice samples and everything like that, don't let that get in the way of what he does as a rapper. This album is a lyrical album, and I implore you to go take your time and actually listen to it and read the lyrics. Reading the lyrics of this album kind of gives me the idea that the title of the album, Learn to Swim, is somewhat of a metaphor for thriving. And I'm not sure if he's speaking on thriving in the music world or if he's talking about thriving just in life in general, because there are multiple references to him in PG County. There is references to his mother. There's references to his friends. There's references to him keeping his head high and moving forward. And there's lyrics in here where he discusses having the steel at the window and thinking about pulling the trigger of the Smith & Wesson. So you can tell that while he's dealing with some elements that are conflicting, his main goal is to thrive, and that comes across on this album. And just looking at his trajectory, being an artist that started at the age of 16 and is now at the age of 19 and has accomplished what he has accomplished already, it's quite obvious that he probably is speaking about being a thriving individual just in life in general. And of course, because music is his life, he's thriving in music as well. This album, Learn to Swim, it's solid. There's nothing further that I can say about this album other than it being very solid. He's got everything that you would have expected to get out of a rap album. He uses distortion very well. He uses voice samples very well, and that's another thing that stands out on this album, just the use of samples. I don't know where he pulled these samples from, but some of these samples are some of the best voice samples I've ever heard, even instrument samples. He really has an ear for music. The standout track on this album for me is going to be Morphine Da Ways. The reason why I consider that to be the standout track for me, it's just the pacing of that track, the use of so many different instruments. There's a point where he's rapping and his rapping kind of just dies off and the saxophone picks up. Just pure genius. The song brings goosebumps to me every time that I hear it. So when you do listen to the album, listen to that track. It's called Morphine Da Ways, and you tell me what you think about it. It is personally my favorite track on the album overall. So with that all said, with the production value, with the writing, with the rapping, with the delivery, with everything that he has done to put forward this beautiful work, I'm going to give this album a 9.0. 9.0. So the reason for giving it that 9.0 is just because this guy has done everything at a top level that you could consider doing on an album. If I had any criticisms of this record, it would probably be, I don't know, maybe the mixing could use a little bit more tightening up. And I would like to hear him play with different flows from time to time. That would really help to give him some diversity and kind of pull away the Earl Sweatshirt references that he seems to be getting a lot of because of the way he delivers his flow, his cadence. It's very Earl Sweatshirt-like, but that, in my opinion, does not work against him. Like I said, because of the production, it works very well. So as he grows and as his style becomes a little bit more developed and as he starts to hone his own style of delivery and cadence and flow, you'll probably see his production change. And then, of course, the way that he flows, that'll change to match his new production. I think there's a lot to see from this guy in the future. So I'm going to continue listening. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys listen to this album? Did you like the album? Did you dislike the album? Do you think that I'm incorrect in my own personal assessment in the album? Let us know. Drop a comment in the comment box below and let us get a conversation going in regards to the new album from RedVeil, Learn to Swim. Anyway, I'm Aaron. This is InCrowd Network, and this has been the review of RedVeil. I'd like to thank you guys for viewing. Hit us with a like, subscribe, and check us out on our next video, y'all. Peace.